Hello to all my friends and family, and welcome to Jim's 5 a.m. club. It's Monday afternoon, early evening. I didn't go to work today, so I didn't get a chance to do any other 5 a.m. clubs. So I'm in catch-up mode at the moment. So I'm just sitting in the car. I've got a light on here, got some music in the background, and I want to try and get through a couple of book summaries so that we can start clicking over the counter, because I've got a goal of getting to 1,000. So I've got about 140 left to go. So I've got a lot of book summaries to conclude and to finish off. So interestingly enough, today's book summary is entitled "How to Do Nothing." How to do nothing, which is not the sort of thing that I trumpet, but the author here, Jenny Odell, will tell us a little bit more about the power of not doing anything sometimes. So Jenny kicks off her book with an interesting quote, which goes as follows: "Our very idea of productivity is premised on the idea of producing something new, whereas we do not tend to see maintenance and care as productive in the same way." Good point. Jenny raises a really interesting point, that in our society today, unless you're creating something new all the time, or on the move all the time, or doing something different and exciting, then you're probably not seen as being productive. But what Jenny alludes to is that in order to be sustainably productive and to continue to generate for years to come, you need to manage your energy, you need to manage your health, and you need to do whatever you can to prolong that longevity. And she says something which is really powerful here. And I remember Steve Covey saying the same thing in his book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. He says that we all need time to sharpen the saw. We all need time to sharpen the saw, to reflect, and to prepare. And what does take time to sharpen the saw actually mean? I guess it's a great metaphor. In old times, when people would saw down a tree, they used a saw, and the saw had teeth. But it gets to the point where those teeth get blunt, and you're sawing away, but not making very much progress. So what the timber person used to do was they'd sharpen the blade, and then the saw would be able to cut through that tree a lot quicker, and hence improve your productivity. So the author then calls us to action here, that we need to learn to love doing nothing. You know, it's a tough call, especially if you're on the move all the time and you're working, and you get rewarded and patted on the back for all the great things you do. But sometimes, in order to continue that productivity and that creativity, we need to step out, we need to step back, step away. So the author is imploring us, or inviting us, to learn to love doing nothing, but not nothing all the time. It's talking about doing nothing some of the time, so that you can recuperate, so you can regenerate, so you can recreate. And the other point she makes here is that when you're always connected, you become unproductive to many around you because you're distracted, you're tired, you're worn out. So sometimes it's good just to back off, take a breather so you can come back for another few short bursts, then take a break, and then short bursts where you can connect with people and create value. And we need to learn how to avoid always being busy. This whole busyness culture that we've grown up in. I remember working for many years in corporate Australia, and people used to take pride in being busy, always busy. Now it was almost, you get sardellas on your sleeve. The busier you are and the more you sacrifice. So what the author then goes on to say is that we need to be able to see the difference, because there's become a blur now. There's become a blur now between work and leisure. In the past, when we were labouring, you'd be out in the field and you knew you were working, and then when you came back, you knew you'd stopped working. Whereas these days, because we're connected all the time and we're always thinking, and there's always something happening, at the conscious and the subconscious level, we can't switch off. It causes us problems. That in itself causes a problem. So we need to, as the author says here, to see the difference between work and leisure, which makes us feel like doing nothing, and it makes us feel that it's a waste of time. We've got to try and snap out of that, I guess, is what the author is trying to teach us. That doing nothing is not a waste of time. It's a time to recreate, regenerate, and allow your subconscious to mull over things in the background. Because, as they say, sheer acts of genius happen when you least expect it. So sometimes the best thing to do is leave a project halfway through it, because when you leave it halfway through it, it allows your brain to work. And there's a thing called the Zeigarnik effect, where your brain is mulling away at something when you're in leisure, and you can come up with an awesome sort of outcome. So we need to take a break. We need to learn to take a break, and we need to help each other. We need to help each other by encouraging each other to take a break and not to crack on and continue to work. So the author here talks about the importance of pausing more frequently to reflect, and you'll begin to notice the wealth of the world around you. There's a lot happening around us that we miss because we're busy thinking, we're busy looking at our phones, we're busy worrying about our past, stressing about our future, and we miss out on the wealth around us. So what the author here talks about is the importance of learning how to notice the world around us by directing your attention to it. So if you're sitting at a bus stop, rather than just looking into nowhere, into space, just focus on something and observe it, and enjoy what you're looking at, and be curious about what it is. Because by being present, we get to enjoy our surrounds, and we also feel at peace. The third formal point that the author talks about in this book are the minor inconveniences in our lives that are easier to deal with. And you need to understand that we are all human. They talk about the importance of just understanding and being empathetic. When you're driving, when you're at work, and somebody cuts in, for example, you don't need to honk on the bloody horn and get stressed and all of that sort of thing. What the author is saying is that just relax, don't react, just relax, let them in, because you know the maths. You're not going to get there any earlier if you jump ahead of them. Just go with the flow sometimes is what the author is suggesting. We need to go with the flow and not get stressed at the things that happen around us, because there's always stuff happening in our lives. The author here says that we basically have two options when we're confronted with an inconvenience. And an inconvenience is just something which is minor. It's not going to change your day. It's not going to change your life. So you can see that the two options that you have is, the first option is that you can look at the inconvenience from your own perspective and be frustrated, be miserable, be upset, be irritated. Because when we look at the world through our own point of view, we do get lulled into that sense of our own importance, and we forget that everybody around us is just as entitled as what we are to the road, to getting things done, to getting on the bus, getting a seat, and basically leading a peaceful life. So that's one option. One option is to look at it from your own perspective and get pissed off, get irritated, get shitty, get aggressive. And the other option you've got, option B, is to look at the same situation through the eyes of the other person. So just pause and consider that others also have motivations for what they do and why they do it. Some people steal because they need to eat. Some people jump in ahead of you because they didn't see you, because they're not a good driver, because maybe they're under pressure to get to work earlier. They've had a fight with their partner at home. Their mother's sick. They could be worried about losing their job. Who knows? Who knows what's going on around us? But what the author is saying is that sometimes we need to sit back and just ask the question, yes, they did that, but they probably did it for a pretty good reason. Nobody goes out of the way just to piss us off, is the bottom line. Because if they do, then that's that's a weird way of living. You don't want to be living just trying to get up people's noses and annoy people around you, is the bottom line. So I guess the bottom line is that we need to understand that we're all flawed and we all need to give ourselves slack. Now we need to give ourselves slack, we need to give other people around us slack, and not be on their case all the time, because by being on their case all the time, we're just creating stress, and that's not good for anybody. It's not good for them, and it's not good for us either. Just remember that when you're causing somebody else stress and pain, you've also got ownership of that pain and stress as well. So there you go. There's another book summary done, another Jim's 5am Club. So thank you very much for joining me on this episode, this night episode of Jim's 5am Club. Just reminding you that it doesn't have to be 5am to do a 5am club. The whole concept of 5am club is basically just to highlight the importance of starting our day, starting our life with something that's positive. But that message can come at any time of the day, as long as we're implementing what we're learning and we're passing it on. Because the catch cry on Jim's 5am Club is for us to live, learn and pass it on, to share experiences, share our wealth, share our knowledge, because we've all got a different slither. We've all got a different slither of reality, of experience, of the world. Nobody has Nobody has, what's the word I'm looking for, a monopoly on the truth. We all have a slither of what the truth is, and it's up to each and every one of us to make the most of that slither. And sometimes OPE, other people's experience, is good to supplement with what we know. As one famous author says, that we all learn from our mistakes, but nobody ever said that they need to be our mistakes. We can learn from other people's mistakes is the big lesson. So let's I guess finish off shortly. So I'm alive, I'm well, I feel absolutely great. Let's be the wind beneath our wings, the wave beneath our board, the zephyr that billows our sails and flutters our flag, and the propeller, that the big turbine that churns the water and pushes us to our goal and to our destination. So thanks once again, Yassas. Vilakya from Jim's 5 a.m. Club, and I look forward to coming to you again from a different location with a different message, a message of empowerment. And as I said, I've got about 140 vlogs to go to reach my 1,000. And I reckon by the time I get to my 1,000, what I'm going to then do is I'm going to go through all of my notes, all of my learnings, and generate my own program. And I'll probably break it down into maybe a 10 half-hour vlog session, and take it from there. So thank you very much, Yassas, and good night. Bye for now.